Nobody talks about this part. Not the breakup, not the layoff, not the diagnosis or the goodbye, and definitely not the death. They talk about the event itself, the moment everything changed, but never what comes after. The part where life expects you to move on, where people stop asking how you're doing, where the world keeps spinning and something inside you just can't keep up. If you've ever felt like you're stuck in the past while everyone else moved into the future without you, if you've ever wondered why you still can't breathe right months or even years later, this is for you. Because what I'm about to tell you is something nobody wants to say out loud. I hope the new version of me is more present, less afraid of failing, and kinder to myself while I'm growing. But here's what nobody tells you about becoming a new version of yourself. Moving on is difficult, not because we're leaving a situation behind, but because we're grieving the version of ourselves that existed within it. We're mourning the person we were before everything fell apart. The you who felt safe. The you who believed in permanence. The you who didn't know this kind of pain was possible. The world keeps spinning. People ask how you're doing, and you learn how to say, "I'm fine," while quietly screaming inside, while wondering why you still feel like you're drowning in the past when everyone around you has already moved on. 3 months pass, and suddenly people expect you to be okay. 6 months, and they stop asking altogether. A year, and they look at you with confusion when you mention it, like you should be over it by now, like grief has an expiration date, like healing follows a schedule. We don't stay stuck because we're weak. We stay because the past feels predictable. Even pain you recognize can feel safer than a future you don't understand yet. Even the worst day you've already survived feels less terrifying than the unknown days ahead. What you're really grieving isn't just a person, a job, or a moment in time. You're grieving a version of yourself. The you who believed certain things were permanent. The you who felt secure in an identity that no longer exists. The you who planned a future that will never happen now. Letting go doesn't just mean accepting loss. It means accepting that you have changed, that you will never be who you were before, that the old version of you died with whatever you lost. And that can feel absolutely terrifying because if you're not who you used to be, then who are you now? Here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to acknowledge. Time doesn't pause for unfinished feelings. The world doesn't stop because you're still processing. So you adapt, you show up, you function. You smile in photos while replaying the past in your head, while having full conversations with someone who's gone, while living in 2 timelines at once. This is what I call the masking phase. When you look okay on the outside, but inside everything feels unresolved. When you're performing the role of someone who's moving forward, while your actual self is still frozen in the moment everything changed. The danger isn't that you're hurting. Everyone hurts. The danger is that life slowly starts moving without you. And one day you realize you've been surviving instead of living. You've been breathing, but not alive. You've been present in body, but absent in spirit. You've been going through the motions while your real self, your actual heart, stayed locked in the past, guarding a moment that's already gone, protecting a version of reality that no longer exists. Memory is not neutral. This is crucial to understand. Memory edits. It softens edges. It deletes the nights you cried and replays only the moments that felt safe. The good days, the last time you laughed together, the way they looked at you before everything fell apart. And when the past becomes perfect in your mind, the present never stands a chance. You aren't holding on to what was. You're holding on to a version of events that no longer exists. a highlight reel your brain created to protect you from the full weight of reality. That idealized memory keeps you emotionally anchored to something that can't return, and it blocks you from seeing what could still grow, what could still be beautiful, what life might still offer if you could just let yourself turn around and look. Unprocessed pain doesn't disappear. This is what they don't tell you. It just changes form. It becomes exhaustion that sleep can't fix, the kind of tired that lives in your bones. It becomes irritation at things that shouldn't bother you, snapping at people you love over nothing, crying in your car in parking lots. It becomes numbness where you used to feel joy, scrolling for hours without seeing anything, sitting in silence because nothing sounds good anymore, forgetting what it felt like to look forward to something. You start guarding yourself from people who haven't hurt you. You expect endings before beginnings. You don't make plans because plans fall apart. You don't invest because investment leads to loss. You don't let people close because close means vulnerable, and vulnerable means destroyed. You stay alert, anxious, waiting for the other shoe to drop, even when nothing is actually wrong, because you know now how fast everything can change, how quickly permanent becomes past tense. This isn't failure to heal. This is a sign that something important was never fully felt, never fully processed. Healing doesn't mean getting over it, moving past it, leaving it behind like it never mattered. Healing means allowing yourself to finally process what you had to survive in the moment, what you had to push down to keep breathing, what you had to ignore to make it through the day. Sometimes we survive first and feel later. Sometimes staying alive takes everything we have, and grief has to wait its turn. Moving on is not forgetting. Let me say that again because this is where most people get it wrong. Moving on is not forgetting. It's not betrayal. It's not leaving someone behind or pretending it didn't matter or acting like your old life meant nothing. Moving on is recategorizing. It's letting the past become a chapter, not the entire story. It's understanding that you can honor what was while still accepting what is. You don't have to erase who you were. You don't have to delete the photos or throw away the memories or stop talking about them or pretend that version of your life never existed. You just have to stop letting that old version of you decide who you're allowed to become now. You have to stop living like the best part of your life is behind you, like happiness was something you already used up, like you don't deserve another chapter because you already had your turn. So ask yourself this, honestly, without judgment, without shame. What am I afraid will happen if I let go? Maybe you're afraid that letting go means forgetting, that if you stop hurting, it means it didn't matter, that moving forward is somehow betrayal. Maybe you're afraid that without this pain, you won't know who you are anymore, that grief has become your identity, that this loss is the only thing that makes you special now. Maybe you're afraid that letting go means admitting it's really over, that they're really gone, that this is actually your life now. Maybe you're afraid that if you stop waiting, stop hoping, stop holding on, you'll have to face the terrifying truth that this is permanent, that some things don't get fixed, that some doors don't reopen no matter how long you stand there knocking. Whatever your answer is, that's where healing begins. That fear you just identified, that's the work. That's the door you need to walk through. Not around it, not over it, through it. And here's what nobody tells you about walking through that door. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to let go of everything today. You don't have to wake up tomorrow as a completely different person who's magically healed. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel stronger. Some days you'll fall apart again. Some days you'll think you're finally past it, and then something small, a song, a smell, a random Tuesday in March, will knock you back to the beginning. And that's okay. That's not failure. That's not going backwards. That's just what grief looks like when it's real. You are allowed to grieve who you were while becoming who you're meant to be. You are allowed to honor the past while refusing to live there. You are allowed to change, to grow, to become unrecognizable to your former self. You are allowed to survive something that should have destroyed you and come out the other side different, softer in some ways and harder in others, more cautious but also more grateful, more aware of how fragile everything is, but also more determined to actually live while you still can. The future isn't asking you to forget. It's just asking you to make room for growth, room for change, room for joy that doesn't erase your pain, room for a version of yourself that you haven't met yet, but who's been waiting patiently for you to be ready, who knows everything you've survived and loves you anyway, who understands that you're not broken, just forever changed. Life moves forward whether we're ready or not. The sun keeps rising. The seasons keep changing. Time keeps passing. The question is, will you move with it, or will you stay behind, guarding a version of yourself that no longer exists, protecting a past that's already gone, refusing the future because it doesn't include what you lost? The choice, as it always has been, is yours.